Hello, everyone, and welcome to another informative episode of the Florida Business Forum podcast. Let's open the Florida Business Forum floodgates and let the information begin to flow. Here's your Florida Business Forum information guru and anchorman, Sam Yates. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Florida Business Forum. And today I have a very special guest, Mark Benson. Now, Mark is the owner and Chief Operating Officer of the Impact Service Group, and that's a name that you have already heard about. A national HVAC facilities management company. They're located out of Connecticut. And Mr. Benson, thank you for joining us here today on the Florida Business Forum.
Thank you for having me, Sam. I'm excited to be here.
Now, for our audience, we've been taking a look at, and it's a very detailed look at a product, and we're calling it an educational tour, if you will, about a new product that your company has. And I know that we've talked about it with Clayton and Rich before, but give us an overview of what the product is, and then we're going to bore down into some specifics.
Okay, that's our remote equipment monitoring unit, otherwise known as the REM, which connects to our platform called Nebula. The platform is where we'll be able to see all the readings of the device. The device will be installed in the HVAC system quite simply, and it'll measure some very basic things that'll give us a pulse of the unit. It'll let us know before it's urgent that something is starting to creep up that doesn't look quite right, be it the voltage or the vibrations or whatever it may be.
Now, one of the things that I know is important for our audience is that this is, in effect, a force multiplier for facilities managers, because we've seen a dwindling workforce in FMs. So this gives them not just another tool, but an intuitive tool.
100%. And furthermore, being able to drill down and manage your energy consumption and the like is going to give these facility managers a tremendous amount of information to provide to their superiors and to start to look at, hey, as you can see, most of our units operate at this particular energy level. Look at what's going on here. This might be a candidate to either take a deeper dive or to say, hey, you know what, it's likely due to the age and inefficiency of the system. Let's start considering a replacement option. And those are tools that they don't have in their toolbox right now. And we're very excited to provide it to our clients so that they have the information. We all know information is knowledge. So that's exciting.
Some of the data that I have seen says that if we interpolate it out a bit, that just by keeping equipment running properly, we could see perhaps up to 16% energy efficiency, energy savings. And some people might go, well, 16%, that's not that much. But if it's a major corporate entity, that adds up in a hurry.
All of our clients are multi-site customers with multiple pieces of equipment for the most part. So, we're not talking about just your house, let's say. We're talking about the 450 locations that you have up and running, and you extrapolate that out, it's a tremendous amount of savings. I'm not great with math, but it's a lot.
It's a lot of savings. Now, we know there's a device, the remote equipment monitoring device. The information shows up on a dashboard, and those of us who are familiar with anything these days know how a dashboard operates. Those are two critical components, but there is yet another component that without that third leg of the stool, everything topples over, and that is how to get the service taken care of, and that's under your purview.
Yeah, the beauty of the system is that it's going to create alerts within the parameters that we set. And those alerts are meant to, and I think Rich alluded to this before, it's your check engine light. It's going to open up the conversation. Hello, customer, we've got this alert. Let's discuss what this would generally mean or be caused from, etc. And then, because a lot of people don't like you to just dispatch a technician. They would like to be in control of whether or not that call is placed. So now that we have the opportunity to have the conversation and discuss what the options are, which is, would you like an immediate service call to address it? Do you want to monitor this for another week or so? Customer, we have a preventive maintenance coming up in about 2 weeks. Would you like to wait and we could check it out further then? It just starts the conversation. It's that heads up before something really strikes where you go, oh no, it's Black Friday. Boy, I wish I had seen these spikes happening 2 weeks ago. Now we'll have that ability to do that. And the dashboard is we've been very careful to make sure it's clean, easy to manipulate, and will show you only what you want to be shown. You can dig down as deep as you want, or you can just say, hey, I only want to know if the supply and return drops to within a 5-degree differential.
And of course, we're focusing what we're talking about from a Florida Business Forum perspective. But as you said just a moment ago, you're national. And I think that we need to let people know that your company has been around a long time. It was one of the pioneers in the HVAC service industry from a national standpoint. So you guys really have that long arm reach throughout the nation.
Yes, historically speaking, and I don't know whether you want me to get into this or not, but historically speaking, in 1966, my grandfather settled a dispute between a supermarket and a HVAC contractor. And he very quickly learned that these two parties, the blue collar and the white collar, at least back then, didn't communicate very well. They needed someone to hold their hands to reach an accord. And out of that was born the original company, which was called Sure Air Limited, and out of New York City. And from there, they really pioneered the concept of national service management. This was localized to New York originally. And then they said, well, it looks like this is a need, this being in control of your HVAC systems and who sets foot in your spaces is a need that everybody has. And my father, who went into the industry behind my grandfather and helped him build the company, as well as Rich's father, Jack, would fly all over the country to these corporate offices and ask them, do you have a preventive maintenance plan? And they would say, no. What's a preventive maintenance plan? And of course, the Bronx would come out of him. He'd go, what do you mean you don't have a preventive maintenance plan? You got to have a plan. You got to sign right now. You got to have a plan. And they built this incredible company from there. My job historically, and we started Impact 23 years ago, we have focused only on HVAC our entire time. My role here for 23 years has been building and vetting the HVAC vendor network. That's what I'm good at. I enjoy talking to contractors from all over the nation in every nook and cranny of this country. It's fascinating to me. And I was actually getting back to my logo of Indiana Jones. I was a cultural and biological anthropology major in college. The sociology side of this business, the talking to the different cultures and finding common ground with everybody. We've all got it. It's all there, and that's what I do. So I find these vendors, I negotiate all of their rates, their markup structures, their refrigerant pricing. I control what's walking into our clients' spaces. And that's been my role here, and it's been extremely satisfying.
Now, I'm for our audience that is the audio-only audience. I'm chuckling to myself a little bit, and we're both, grinning from ear to ear because when Mark first came on the program to start the program, he was identified just by a static photo, and I'm looking over at the photo as I'm beginning the program, and I'm going, wait a minute, that's Indiana Jones. And that is the rest of the story behind what Mark was just saying based on his background. But, I have to say that there's a lot of Indiana Jones symbolism when you start thinking about what your service techs are discovering and how you're solving problems. It is certainly not going to throw them into the temple of doom. It is going to be that reward that they have at the end of the day. But let's talk about the service techs themselves. You do hold reign over a massive network of service tech. So as this new product, Nebula, rolls out nationwide, and we'll come back and talk a bit more with the three of you about where the future is going, but you have the capabilities right now of servicing throughout the country with those service techs. Fair
Oh,
statement?
yes. We have approximately 10,000 locations across the nation, hundreds of HVAC contractors that we've individually negotiated with. And basically, every contractor who comes into our company starts with our team first. We run them on the service calls directly out of my team. We manage their first bills. We manage their first maintenances. We make sure, as I like to say, that they can play nice with others and that they know what they're doing. We can very quickly pick out if someone does not know what they're talking about, licensed or not. You can have a license. It doesn't mean you really know exactly what you're doing or that your technicians do. So most of the time we're dealing directly with the owners of these service companies. And again, they go through this probationary period with my group before we decide, as I like to say, that we'll release them to general population. And that's out to the rest of our company and our staff here.
So that literally is a probationary vetting process. So for our store owners, our investors who are, in many cases, what is happening in the economy today, we see larger and larger conglomerates coming in and buying holdings, and those holdings include facilities, and they're sure going to want to know that their facilities are being given proper attention. So you have that as a check mark that's checked for them.
I'll further qualify that and say that the many of the contractors that are in our network, and it's a testament to the type of service we provide, the relationships that we build, but many of them have been with us for 20 plus years. These are folks who see the value in doing the business the way that we feel it should be done. And, if someone gets it, and they get that we have a certain way that we need things presented and performed and a certain level of service that we expect, when they get it, this can go on and on forever together. And and we really have kept and made some great, I'll call them friends, who are still working for us. And even in the situations with many of them where we've had to part ways, perhaps they no longer have enough technicians, whatever it may be, I've remained close with them. I will reach out and if I'm down in Northern Virginia, I'll reach out to one of our old contractors there. Just say hi. I don't expect them to, stop their day for me to have lunch, but we've kept these relationships because we operate at a professional level and we respect them as partners, because that's what they are. They're our partner. They're an extension of us, and we're an extension of the facility department of our clients.
That underscores something that for those who have listened to our other podcast with your company, it underscores what is a central theme throughout, and that is customer service. You are a customer service company providing a particular service, but throughout it's customer service, customer service.
Yes, and beyond that, this is a highly skilled trade. This is something that not everybody understands. When you bring your car to the mechanic shop, they can tell you kind of whatever they like. And what are you going to stop and learn how every single piece of your car works? The answer is no, I don't know how my car works. I know that it gets me where I need to go. But we wanted to be an expert in the industry to make sure that you as our client, we're getting good information. And that's why the conversations with our service companies are straight up technical conversations. And we will make suggestions when we've run into a situation that they're scratching their head about. And we've been doing this long enough to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk. And our vendors appreciate it. Our clients appreciate it that we could present it to them in a way that they understand. And our contractors, the technicians standing on the roof, are thrilled to be able to have a conversation with people who know what they're talking about.
When we talk about that technician standing on the roof, occasionally I hear horror stories from facility managers, and one goes a little like this. We had a problem. A service tech was called. The service tech says they did XYZ standing on the roof. I can now look at my equipment and they really never showed up. You have safeguards built in right down to making, actually knowing that the service tech was there at a facility and did what they said they were going to do, or what your equipment, Nebula, said needed to be done.
Well, that's the beauty of the REM device now. We're going to see in real time when something comes back online. And in real time, we'll be able to say to the technician, hey, wait, I'm not seeing the temperature drop, or I'm still seeing a spike, or whatever it may be. This is a great tool to empower us to be even better. We've relied on constant communication with the client and with the vendor. But at the end of the day, we've never been able to really look at the system, figuratively speaking. Now we can, and that real-time data is going to be invaluable. And I don't know if you want to speak to this yet, but even the contractor's office staff now are going to have a powerful tool, and that tool is going to enable them to better manage their own technicians. We'll see that there's a problem. Instead of getting a shotgun overtime service call, we'll know ahead of time, and we could say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put this on for Wednesday. We'll come take a look. The unit's not down. It's just starting to show some variables that are outside of the parameters. Now they can better manage their time. And beyond that, the office will know in real time also when the technician, their tech in the field, has finished on their particular job for us. And they'll be able to manage that technician quicker than they would have waiting for him to potentially walk out to his truck and then radio in, or whatever it might be. So that's exciting in itself.
When we talk about this equipment, the Nebula system, it's been designed and put into service by HVAC experts. It's not some, wow, we have found this program, but we don't know anything about it, and you're hitting on it now. This is formed by the HVAC company. Big plus.
Yeah, it is indeed. And furthermore, they helped us with the design itself. We're not so bold to think that we have all the answers and know what's best for everybody out there. We wanted to make sure that this was going to be a functional item for the contractors as well. That is, one, easy for them to install, two, easy for them to monitor and provide feedback on, and three, and most importantly, hey guys, what do you want to see? What will help you, right, recognize these problems? We know what we want. What do you want? And all of that together, and this is the way we've worked over the years, even when it comes down to figuring out our maintenance pricing for our customers. We've talked to the vendors, and no one here is going to dictate to the guy in the field what's best for the guy in the field. It doesn't make any sense. So we allow for feedback, we encourage feedback, and we act on feedback, and we always have, and it's something that's served us well. And we'll continue to do so.
As I have been speaking to some of your clients, we are working our way through client relations and certainly corporate management procedures for the clients to be able to say, client XYZ is using the equipment, and sometimes that just takes a little time. What didn't take an ounce of time was to hear the feedback, and it's something universal. Where the clients are talking about being able to track work orders, they can see what's open, what's closed. That to me is a big plus for anyone that's in a facility manager position.
Beyond that, we've always been able to track history, as we call it, of a site. Now, when a site has one unit, that's great information. When a site has more than one unit, it's good information. Now we'll be able to individually isolate each system and look at it as its own entity. And that will be real historical data. And furthermore, once we have some great benchmarks as we continue to move forward, we'll be able to sharpen our own parameters to make this tool even more powerful. And that historical data is going to be critical. And again, it's, when a technician walks up to one, they could be directed to the unit that has the problem easily. And two, now when they walk up to the unit, they could also get the history on it as we continue to load data. And that only helps them piece together the puzzle that can be, heavy duty machinery.
I know that we're not going to go into cost and pricing, but from a comparison standpoint, this equipment, your system, your technicians are all focused on one area, HVAC. Some of the other systems that are out there that are the high price spreads that do all the bells and whistles, some facility managers have said, I'm using something that's given me an automated system readout, or I've got something that's monitoring the environment. I really just needed something to tell me what's going on with the damn HVAC system. So that means that you are more affordable? Question?
Yes, that was our goal. Our goal was to be able to bring something to the masses that didn't cost an arm and a leg. These platforms are grossly expensive, and I'm not saying that there's not value there, but I am saying that the majority of people that I've talked to that have every single bell and whistle and they're paying through the teeth for it only really want to see a handful of items. Because that's what they really need to see. And furthermore, a lot of them actually don't even know how to fully use the system that they've been given or that they're paying for. Ours is so simple and gives you the pulse. That's all they need. And it's not going to be a platform fee. It's an installation fee. And we're going to provide this Nebula platform to our clients without any sort of additional fees. It is made for the masses. We've always provided management to our customers. This is just another management tool that we're giving to our customers beyond everything we do every day. And it's not going to replace the technicians in the field. You're always going to need technicians to replace the compressor and do et cetera. But this will just help at a fraction of the price that they may have to pay another system for another system. It'll help them get their jobs done and make all of us kind of sleep a little better at night, knowing that we've got an alarm that'll go off when something goes wrong.
And I know that's the answer to the question is yes, you are going to have so many people wanting to know how they can get in touch with you and how they can get in touch with Impact. How may they do that?
Yeah, they can either reach out through our website, impactservicegroup.com. Obviously, they could email me at mbenson, B-E-N-S-O-N, at impactservicegroup.com. You've spoken to Clayton and Rich. There are many ways to reach out. There's also this thing called the telephone I've heard of that many people still use. And our number, we do have a number which I'm sure you'll put up on the screen. But the main line is 203-431-8008. We are available 24/7. We are on the East Coast, so we're on Eastern Standard Time. But we'll always get back to you if you want to talk. We'll always be able to schedule a meeting, talk further about what we do here and what we could do for you.
Spoken like a true service expert. Mark, I appreciate it very much. Now, the toughest question that I have ever asked anyone, I always save it to the end of the program. Are you ready for that question?
Sure.
Will you be able to come back at some point in the future when this is rolled out totally nationwide and give us some examples of what your customers are saying about Nebula by Impact?
That would be my absolute pleasure. You have my word. I am happy to do so.
All right. Mark, I appreciate you being here today. And our next task is getting the three main players from this heritage company together to talk about what the future holds. And, and I love that connection, heritage company taking a look into the future. Thank you for being with us here today, Mark.
Thanks very much for having me.
And I can tell you that we are going to have that three-party connection. Mark mentioned phone. Well, in the old days, back when people used to have to turn the finger around the dial to get the phone going, I've heard there was something like a party connection. Well, we're going to reinvent it here, podcast style. We're going to have the three main players from this company together, and we're going to have a round table discussion as one of our upcoming podcasts. In the meantime, I'm Sam Yates for the Florida Business Forum, and have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Sam.
The Florida Business Forum is dedicated to showcasing Florida businesses and CEOs of all sorts to promote their business or not-for-profit in the only business forum of its type in Florida. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, the Florida Business Forum is now accepting guest applications. Have a great day, everyone, and stay tuned for more business.